All right, so WWE's Bash in Berlin, or Bash at Berlin, no, it's Bash in Berlin, is now in the history books. This pay-per-view was, honestly, look, it wasn't a bad show by any means, but it's probably the most skippable pay-per-view of the year. Again, I want to say, before I go into the show, all the guys worked hard and the girls. It wasn't like there were any like terrible matches or anything like that. The crowd was into at least 3 of the matches, really into them. But there wasn't anything on this show that was can't miss. The finishes were all very predictable. It's a 5-match show. It was almost like, I can't sit here and tell you if you have other things going on that you should stop what you're doing and watch this show. I can't say, work to see this show. I can't say like, you can skip this show and you'll be fine. Now, if you decide to watch the show, most of the show was good. I mean, most of the matches did deliver. Very interesting finishes. So I think for the review, I'll talk mostly about what the finishes were. And because really they're just wrestling matches. It's like what I say about AEW. Like, some of the matches on television for AEW, they go too long. And granted, this is not the same thing. The idea is, if you have a long match, but you already know who the winner is, and nothing truly, like, insane happens in the match, there isn't much to talk about. Not saying it's a bad thing, but, you can't have every match be a banger. You have to have, like, a balanced card. And like I said, this was a good show, not a great show, not a can't-miss show. The show opened with Cody, Kevin Owens for the Undisputed title, which I knew they were going to do. What was interesting is, again, it was a match. I'm not saying it was horrible. I'm not saying it was can't miss. It was just a good, solid match from guys who have chemistry. And the only thing that's really worth noting is that Cody did some pretty cool psychology here, playing possum for a few of the spots in the match, and that was cool. And then on top of that, at the end, after Cody beat him, they teased that Kevin Owens would hit him and go heel like he's done to so many other people, and he did not do it. He did not do it. So we'll see. Will Kevin Owens turn on him down the road, or will he stay a face? I don't know if I want him to be a heel just yet. I'm sure he will be someday, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Again, bro, there was no way Cody was losing this match. I guess he'll move on to whatever's going to happen at Hell in a Cell. I guess we'll see. Then we have Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill against the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Now, the thing about this match is, again, there's only a couple ways this could have gone. They could have done a DQ count out, which I knew they weren't going to do. They could have had it to where Bianca and Jade lose because of them having a miscommunication, which can lead to them eventually feuding, which that might still happen down the road and probably will. Or if they beat the Unholy Union, and that's what happened. There's only a small handful of finishes that they could do if you understand WWE's psychology and Triple H's psychology on Jade Cargill and Bianca. Jade and Bianca are not going to be losing any matches for a very, very long time, dude. They are very protected. Jade has not been pinned yet, I don't think, in WWE. And if you look at Bianca, go back and study Bianca's WWE run, not NXT, WWE. She has a very good win-loss record. She's lost a couple of matches. I'm not saying she's undefeated. She ain't like, Goldberg or anything like that, but she's only lost a very small handful of matches. She's very protected even during the Vince era. So they are the women's tag team champions again. Eventually, I'm sure that they will split. I think that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn just got it because it was Scotland. They wanted to have like a positive win there because Drew wasn't getting it. That's the way I feel about that booking now looking back. So there you go. Speaking of Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Now, this was the one match where I wasn't sure where they were going to go. Are they going to have Punk lose again? Are they going to have Drew lose? I had a feeling that Punk was going to win this match just because he lost the last one, and Punk has not had a win in WWE since coming back. He was in the Rumble, and he had the match with Drew. And that's it. No other matches. It's kind of wild, man. That injury was crazy. This match was good, though. I enjoyed it. It was a strap match, so, I mean, there were some limitations, but some of the bumps they did on the outside of the ring, some of the near falls near the, like, it was good. Also, the thing that was funny is there's like a classic finish to almost every old school WWE strap match where the heel will touch all four corners, because that's how you win in this version of the strap match. And then the baby face will do it behind them, and then right before the heel hits the last corner, the face will get it, and then they'll win. This has been a finish that wrestling has used now for decades. I'm talking about decades. They teased it here because Drew hit, three of the corners, but not the fourth one. Punk did it behind him, and it wound up just being a near fall. But because CM Punk won, he has not yet scored a pinfall victory over Drew. And he did get the bracelet back. So it looks like that story's over, but I don't think so. I think even after the show ended, or even after the match ended, I said, yeah, this is not over. They're going to do something else. They're probably going to have a match at Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood, I would assume. And then, there we are. I don't know. I mean, I think ultimately Punk's going to win the feud, but man, Drew has been losing a lot lately, so I'm hoping he gets something. He's been disappointed quite a bit this year. Many of it because of Punk. So I think there'll be a third match. Then we had the Terror Twins against the Judgment Day. So this was probably the most fun match on the show, and the one that it was probably the most spectacular as far as just the drama. They mixed in a little comedy. They had some really well thought out spots. It's great because Liv cannot do anything to Rhea Ripley physically, so of course she has to cheat and do things like that. And then Judgment Day, they did interfere, like Carlito and Finn did come out, and I was wondering if they were going to actually screw them over, but I thought to myself again, the logical finish going into the match was Rhea Ripley pins Liv, so that way she gets the shot at, and this will be at Bad Blood. This will be at Bad Blood, because they do have Bad Blood, and it will be Hell in a Cell. I just have that feeling it'll be Hell in a Cell, so Rhea had to pin the champion clean to get that, and again, logical booking, very simple. She won. In many ways, y'all, this was kind of a little bit higher, maybe a little bit higher than the average episode of Raw. Like I said, it's not. I would not put it on the level of some of the other PLEs, but it wasn't a bad show. It did give me more of a house show vibe, because it's all sort of building to something else. You know what I mean? Even though Drew and Punk had a relatively clean finish, still, like, and actually, let me take that back. I don't think Bianca and Jade are going to wrestle Alba and Isla again. Not on pay-per-view anyways. They probably are going to find a new opponent. Maybe Tiffany and Nia Jax. I don't know. They could do that. That could work. Gunther, Randy Orton was the main event. The crowd sang Randy's theme song. Gunther was in a way cheered like a babyface, but not entirely. They were into this. The match went about 35 minutes. It was the longest match on the show. It was a solid match. It was a solid match. But it's like all the Gunther matches, chopping, lots of psychology. Obviously, when Randy hit the RKO, I didn't think it was going to be the finish. I was watching it with a group of people, and I even told them, I said, this nowadays, one finisher never finishes a match. Think about the last time you remember a title match ending with one finisher. Like, think real hard. In either AEW or WWE or even New Japan, all title matches have to have finisher kickouts. And I know it's not new. It's been that way for a long time. But the problem is that because it's been that way, hitting a finisher it's awesome to see the finisher, but you kind of know in the back of your head, like, that's not going to be the finish. So now a finisher is not as effective as it used to be. And that's why I kind of like psychology here, because Gunther had him with a few different moves, and he even put him in the sleeper, and then Randy tried to get out of it, and then Gunther clubbed him again and put him back in it. But the most interesting thing was that after the show ended, Gunther and Randy shook hands. And that was cool. Gunther and Randy shook hands, and that was cool. It was weird, though, because Randy's a face, and I thought for a minute Randy would RKO him to get the pop leaving the building. But no, because Gunther's, near Germany, he wrestled in Germany, which, by the way, they referenced OVW when Punk came out for the strap match, because Punk had the strap match with Brent Albright, which I actually have on DVD somewhere back in 2006. I didn't expect to hear OVW get referenced. But they also talked about how Gunther had like history there in the German independent circuit. I don't really know much about that part of the world when it comes to wrestling. But Gunther won, and then Randy like shook his hand, like gave him props. So naturally, as a fan of wrestling, I'm thinking, okay, wait, so is Randy gonna hit him? And he didn't. So does that mean that Gunther is turning babyface? Like, that was a very honorable finish. However, Gunther himself, he is a heel, but he's more of like an honorable heel. He does cheat sometimes, but he wins most of his matches clean, and he can be a dick, which he has been. I mean, he called out Randy's family, but still, he's not like Dominic Mysterio. He's not quite like, let's just say Solo or even Roman when he was the top heel on SmackDown. He's his own guy. He's more like a Brock in a way, where he usually wins his matches clean. So hopefully, well, I say hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen with this whole lawsuit, but if Brock ever comes back, that is a good match because they have similar auras. But the match was good. The show, I mean, this show, even going into it, the booking, it felt like Triple H had a pre-booked SummerSlam months ago, but this show almost felt a little bit last minute. Like Kevin Owens getting a shot, I'm not saying it was, but it felt like it was last minute. A lot of these matches didn't have super long builds. I mean, they just didn't. Cody and Kevin, that was a whole different kind of match. It was face versus face. And then Gunther and Randy was, it was face versus heel, but it had a 3-week build. So there wasn't enough time to really build up a lot of them. When it comes to CM Punk and Drew, of course, that's like their biggest non-title feud in the company. Maybe the biggest one. But the rest of them, like I said, don't make a mistake. If you have time, don't mistake what I'm saying. If you have time, check out the show. If you don't, that's okay. It's not a must-see show. Matches were good, though. I mean, the matches were good. If you're going to say, okay, what is the one match I must see? I would probably say the strap match, although the Terror Twins Judgment Day was more fun for me to watch because the character work in that match was fun. But the best match was probably the strap match. Or the main event. If you like that, you know what? The Gunther Randy Orton was a better technical match. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. If you have the time, check it out. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Take care. Catch you real soon.